Hello, I'm Fizzy!
And I'm Wycoms.
And welcome back to another race in the AOR-PC Split 1 League. It's a Fizz Race Highlights once again, and we are at round 10 at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. A circuit which I normally quite like driving around. Obviously, some potential controversies around turn 1 with, you know, the ability to cut it and stuff, but apart from that, normally I like this one.
Yeah, I like to go back to to do any German Grand Prix really, because Hockenheim or Nürburgring, both of these tracks are pretty iconic, I have to say, around the F1 calendar, and it would be a shame if they are, excluded entirely, which they have been in some seasons in the past. But anyway, it's good to, have Hockenheim in the calendar here today, and I guess without further ado, let's see how we did in qualifying.
So then, starting our qualifying laps by hopefully setting ourselves up with a good exit out of the final corner onto a relatively short main straight. No DRS there. Usually on circuits there's DRS on the main straight, but not around here because it's that short. And then obviously both of us doing a really good job, I must say, to not cut turn 1. So that's good. And then braking hard into turn 2, down to second gear. You shifting very early up to third. I was struggling a bit more in that traction zone. I was always struggling a bit in that traction zone. Probably lost a couple of tenths to you there. Then obviously the straight where there is a DRS, the longest one on the circuit, down into the very heavy braking for the hairpin.
Yep. Main overtaking spot on the track, well, in the race later on, down into first gear, keeping the apex there nicely. Very, very tricky traction zone, a very important traction zone as well, because we're now coming down the, well, let's say back straight maybe, down into the Ayrton Senna corner, if I'm not mistaken, and this corner here out of the exit here, which is nearly flat out, not quite if you control it, and now into this very, very narrow final sector.
Yeah, love that corner into the stadium section, and then there's a slightly banked corner here for the left-hander, and then kind of tricky traction zone, a bit of a slide for you. I was struggling a bit as well, and then you got to keep the flow through these final few corners. You want to kind of make these two apexes into one long right-hander, and then onto the main straight again. You have done a 1:13.9, just about. I have done a 1:14.5, which I was not actually happy with at all. Even though it's, it's only 5 tenths off you. It's kind of normal for me to be 5 tenths off you, even though you were 2 tenths off pole, which is more than you've usually been in recent races. But yeah, I know that in practice I could do a 1:14.1, which would have been P6, so that's why I was a bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, understandable, I guess. So, worth mentioning maybe the man on pole position, that is actually Strees, who you might know from the Xbox side, who's now driving for PC for the remaining, for the rest of the season, because, has some problems with his Xbox, and
unless he fixes the Xbox, that is.
with his Xbox, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, unless he fixes
it. And, can we skip this race? Can we skip this race already?
Yes.
I was about to say, you're on P11, I mean, you could start on fresh tires. Oh, wait.
Nope, normally P11 is a fantastic place to start. Fucking great, but it's raining, so it doesn't matter at all. Everyone's going to be starting on the wet compound tires, and it's going to be, according to the weather forecast, wet for pretty much the entire race, which is the last thing I wanted. This is one of the tracks where I really love the flow of it in the dry, but in the wet, I just have no clue what I'm doing. And yeah, and it's really annoying that it's wet around here.
Yeah, and we both were struggling. I mean, the social we did on the day before actually was raining there as well, and we were, not too comfortable around the track back then. Yeah. So hopefully things are now going to be a little bit better. And obviously we try to keep it cautious here on the first couple of laps. 5 lights for the German Grand Prix, and they are out. Seems like an extremely good start for Berkey, going up the inside already on Streets here. I have to be wary of RBK. Oh my god, nearly contact between the two of them, but tidy through the first corner. You have Ram, I think, on your inside there.
Not unusual. I always get passed by a Red Bull, as you've made slight contact with Streets there into the braking zone for turn 2. Avoided damage, so a bit of a slider. RBK has gone past you actually out of that corner, and I'm absolutely being swarmed here, and it's basically cars everywhere. Gotta go in the middle. No, it's gonna be closing down that gap, and Fugataro's coming out of nowhere, so it's 3 wide ahead of me, and I'm already side by side with Ram as well. You go on the inside, RBK in the traction zone, and in the traction braking zone. Oh fuck. Okay, you take over. I can't be asked.
Oh dear. Well, we should maybe we cursed you in front because in front of the race because we've talked about it in the formation lab. I remember, if I remember correctly, we were talking. Yeah, let's try to keep it easy for to happen because well, lots of front wings will probably be fallen off, but that unfortunately didn't help you there.
And you can already see the unders there in that right-hander in the sort of higher speed corners, where I'm now going to be struggling for this whole stint. Probably not going to pit though, because you lose quite a lot of time, and so basically I have to carry that now until whenever these tires fall off or it turns into intermediate tire conditions. But the top three trying to sneak away from you a little bit by the looks of it, and they have got about a second's worth of a gap. So I don't know how confident you are in keeping up with this in these conditions.
At the moment, not, as you can see. I've also got Fela quite far behind, behind me. Now skipping to lap 8. Literally, nothing happened. You are still on P12. You are now behind Chicane. You can see the gap opened up, really. But you at least stuck with Chicane there. But yeah, I mean, that is really, this damage is really hindering you by at least half a second. I think in the rain is even worse. And we have a strange strategy. Everyone is going into the pits. The top three are going into the pits. I'm gonna follow them, try not to hit the go into the gravel there. And seems like that will be intermediate from now on, from lap 8 on. And I think you're gonna follow me. Yes, you do. Which means you're gonna have a slow pit stop though. Well, you have a slow pit stop anyway, so.
Yeah. I always get slow. You got a pretty slow pit stop actually, 3.5. Ooh, I had a really slow pit entry as well because I literally last minute realized, oh fuck, I haven't changed my tire over to intermediates. So I was nearly putting on another set of wets there, but just about got it changed. And actually, oh my god, you've come out just behind Andre Condrianu, who is making his first, his return to the league. Oh, and he's forced you onto the grass there. Not sure he saw you there, to be honest. Because that was quite nosy.
It was a weird overtake place to overtake, and it was only a slight bit where I was sufficiently alongside him. But yeah, and it's a tricky one to judge really. At that point, I was pretty annoyed because I now lost the position to Feder. But in hindsight, I guess, and he's having the racing line. I'm trying to go around the outside for some reason, and I mean I could have waited for the straight, but.
Sure.
But in hindsight, it always is, easier to judge, I guess, and I think in that kind of situation, I guess, you could have left me a little bit more space, but it wasn't, that unfair. That's an unfair move, I would say at least. But now he's holding up Failer and me up quite significantly. Actually, Strees for some reason is now behind us as well, and that has allowed RBK and Berg to pull away like absolutely mad.
Yeah, and obviously Andre on the wet tire still, he hadn't pitted, that's why he was there. But at least now he's gone into the pits to not annoy you any further. You're going to be behind Failer though, and it'd be interesting to see now really if you have the pace to keep up with him, considering he was kind of sitting there behind you for the first part of the race, from what I remember. So, bit of a shame though that the top three have gone away, but still cut up 2 even, of course. Yep, a long way to go though. At the end of lap 9 now, so let's see if I can be ahead of Andre still, because he was behind me. He didn't catch me despite my damage on the first stint. Obviously I had a very long pit stop, which means that indeed he is going to be ahead. I think he's left the pit. I think he might be the guy going into turn 2 there, and I've actually dropped behind Mathis even. I'm going to try to break him though on the outside through turn 2. Going to leave him in the room, going to try to find the traction out here on the racing line. Bit of a tighter turn through turn 4. But we have got that position over Mathis, potentially crucial. Not really sure what kind of pace Mathis was running, but always crucial in these conditions, especially to get to the positions where you can. So at least, even though I'm very far down the field at the moment, at least it's something, I guess. And yeah, you're now in a podium fight with Failer. I'm in a fight to try and catch up with whatever the fuck I can.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to you to get back into the points really, but it wouldn't be the first time. Ooh, I got Failer going very slow there after turn 1. Not sure if he...
It was interesting, Failer cut the corner and then he had a slower exit, so maybe he lifted a bit because of that.
Could be. Could be. Oh, that's not gonna help though. That kind of exit. I was trying to get the best possible exit, and sometimes if you try to do that, you're just gonna overshoot it. But then now in the slipstream, and I really want to get faster past Failure here because Strees is now right behind me as well. So I'm gonna try to brake later than him into the hairpin. I'm locking up though slightly, having to go very deep into the corner. I'm still trying to leave him as much room as possible.
Oh, here comes Strees.
Yeah. Up the inside there as well. It was not the best ever move I've ever done on a car, to be honest, but I think I still left him room there on the outside, even though I went deep into the hairpin. So I think that was a move, and I don't need to give the position back, I guess.
Well, hopefully not, because then you don't have to left Streets pass now.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least you know, you got the job done. Whether Failure has something to say about that, we will see. But for now, it's a good move, and you're up into the podium positions. Gap though to RBK 8 seconds. So I think you might have to give up on that unless something happens to Berg and RBK quite severely. Well, with Streets right behind.
Yeah, and I didn't have the pace at all, really, on the wet tires. Maybe that might change a little bit in the intermediates, but I was nowhere near these top two guys really. Up until now, really, I was trying to get into a rhythm. Maybe I can, you know, match these guys maybe in the next couple of laps, but I don't think there's any chance of catching them, especially not if you're running that wide into the hairpin. And also, of course, be wary of Strees, you know, normally very fast guy, so he can do a move anywhere really if he wants to.
Yeah, of course, one of the guys who's been occasionally fighting for wins on the Xbox League, which we know is a very competitive one as well. So actually a move going on, Andre passing Chicane ahead of me, so I'm catching back up to Chicane, who was running behind for the whole first stint. That was with damage, so I hope that now without damage I maybe will be a bit quicker, but we'll see on that one. He's going to have a bit of slipstream, obviously, from Andre as well down the straight, as you're still just trying to keep focused, I guess. Try not to make mistakes to let Streets pass, as I've gone up the inside of Chicane. Not sure I intended that fully, but I managed to get it slowed down for the apex. Chicane braking a little bit early, maybe. Hard to get the traction though, not really on the racing line, and Chicane has got his car still alongside and turning in now, but he was going to understeer. I had to get out of it a little bit there, because I think I would have made contact with Chicane otherwise. Gonna still try to see if I can find some kind of traction to get myself back alongside, but it wasn't to be on that occasion, so I'm going to be a little bit more patient then. Chicane, obviously a man who is quite experienced. He knows how not to get past if he has the pace for it. But I'm going to give it another try now, maybe, with Rich mixed down to the hairpin again on the next lap. Let's see if I can do similar move. No, I can't, because he's gone defensive this time. Doesn't want me up his inside, but he's got really wide. I nearly broke my front wing again, really, with how close I got there. And oh, Chris, where are you going?
I'm not sure. I think I lost concentration there a little bit as I was going actually purple in that second sector, which I was a little bit surprised of, really, because it was the first time really I, you know, set a purple sector, I think, in that entire race, and that has not gone to plan, really, and that has now enabled Streets to go back into P3, and that wasn't really good, but at this point, really, I wasn't that exactly bothered about it, because I was not trying really to catch the guys in front. Well, obviously you try to, you know, to do your best to catch cars in front, but I could, even at my really best, which I have been driving the last 5 laps or something, I maybe closed 3/10 on them or something, so that's basically nothing. And
sounds like me versus Nuka at Silverstone.
yeah, basically, as Chicane has actually run wide here, we're just gonna give you finally P15, but P15 is definitely not the position you want to finish in.
Oh yes, the elusive P15. That's what I was aiming for.
It seems like that this field is quite spread out up there, so I'm not sure how realistic it is that you can get up to these guys once again. Maybe if we have to stretch out these intermediates as long as possible, maybe some of the guys have to pit for a second sort of, you know, intermediates, while some of us might not. That could be a possibility as well, to get you into contention again for points.
Yeah.
It will depend when it dries up, really. If we have something like, I don't know, Canada. Oh my god.
Yep, like Canada, like you were saying.
Yeah,
so
then that wouldn't be too beneficial, I guess, for many people. Anyway, we're now on lap 24. Seems like still intermediate condition, nothing has really changed. I'm still behind Strees. Gap has been, I don't know, roughly between 5 tenths to a second. I wasn't really that. You know, we were pretty much matching pace really, and we weren't catching the leaders. So you know, we were. Berg and RBK were just in their own league really, and Strees and me were in their own league. With Feyenoord not too far behind, but that's not going to help. Oh my god, as you actually have a run now into turn 1 on Andre. But that's...
God's sake, I braked at the wrong braking board!
I'm not sure if that would have ended too well anyway, because Andre was turning in after that, even though you were, you know, still pretty close behind him. But not sure if that would have worked out with both of you going side by side there. So maybe, you know.
No, mate, I was gonna nail him. I was gonna just, you know,
force him off the track.
Yeah, sure. And then he'd be happy with it because he'd realize that I'm awesome. But unfortunately, yeah, like I said, I braked the wrong board, so it wasn't going to happen. And now I'm going to try to find another way past Andre. At least I felt like I had a slight pace advantage, because after passing Chicane, I was able to catch up to him. But I found it a little bit more tricky to get a run on Andre. There, I thought I might have had a chance, but he just closed the door immediately once he realized that I got a better exit into the same section, and can't really go around the outside there. It's a bit too long. So sliding my way through the third sector now. Only 6 laps to go actually. And is it drying up?
It is a little bit, I think. You can see a little bit better on my screen with no, you know, spray there, but it's definitely going drying up. But our tires are probably pretty worn at this stage as well, and we might have to look out for that as well if we show our, you know, overlay or something, tire wear in a bit, maybe. And yeah. Gap to RBK 15.6 seconds, and that is obviously also due to my mistake, but also due to just.
Don't have to focus about that.
Huh?
The gap to failure behind is 5 seconds. That's what we need to focus on.
Okay, yeah. But that has been pretty consistently there, so I wasn't really, you know. Well, probably concentrating still more on that than the gap to ahead, because that was pretty.
Where was Strees gone actually?
Huh?
Where was Strees gone?
Was he pit? Yeah. Oh yeah. I wasn't actually. I was going to mention that he pitted for a second set of intermediates.
Ah. So he was having even worse wear than us then.
Yeah, I saw on your thingy, on your HUD, on your HUD. HUD.
Sure. OSD.
OSD. Anyway, yeah. Slick was on super soft. That's 3 sets the fastest lap, and I'm on 69% tire wear. So I'm not going to the end of these tires if it's not going to dry up. So I need to make a decision pretty quickly here what I'm going to do.
I mean, surely you can make it to the end, but it's a case of, you know, you are majorly risking a puncture. Oh, and Andre's gone in at the end of lap 29. So that's interesting. I hadn't really planned to go in at this point because I just still felt like it was wet. So maybe Andres felt something that I didn't. I was definitely understeering a bit there in turn 1 actually, so maybe Andres got on the super soft, so he feels like it's dry enough.
Yeah, or he thinks he has no other choice.
yeah, sure, yeah. But it's maybe a bit early. I mean, it's still drizzling down the camera at least.
It's actually changed.
Oh, he's retired.
Did it change strategy there? I'm not too sure actually. Anyway, coming now around the final corner in the suit cover, but it seems like it's still, you know, it's still very, very damp still. It has stopped raining, but it's still very, very damp. It might be actually close if we have to change in the end, or really have to, you know, sit out on these tires and try to hope to not get a puncture, because I think, you know, many of these guys are in a similar situation, really. On praying that it will dry up quickly, or just praying that they don't get a puncture in the end. As I now have actually moved my brake bias out forward to 64% to help my rear tires a little bit, 72% now.
64, Jesus. Don't think I ever driven with a brake bias that far forward.
No.
But, no.
I have to be very cautious now to these braking zones as well, because, you know, I was not in a battle with anyone anymore. I was in a battle with the tires, and you're actually gone in now because it says change strategy, I think. Yes, it does.
It did.
You are going in for super soft. DRS enabled, so that's definitely it's time now. Max in as well. So I think that just, you know, answered our question and our worries about tire wear. Now we can just easily go to super soft, go to the end.
Yeah, so with just 4 laps remaining in the race, obviously, if you had waited a couple of more laps, it might have been almost beneficial to stay out in the last lap or two. You know, just because you try and hold on to the pit stop time by staying out on the inters, even though they're horribly worse. But yeah, 4 laps to go is a no-brainer to go in when it's dry enough, especially when it says DRS enabled. That's usually a good hint that it's dry enough. So you've been nice and cautious on the exit. You don't really need to risk anything. Exit, yeah, sure, yeah, exit, yeah, that's right. You don't really need to risk anything with the gap to failure relatively big. Obviously, Strees has, you know,
he's a pit stop
disappeared
behind
from our Boris, yeah, so he's also behind, having done an extra pit stop now in the race. So you are going to be comfortably in P3 by the looks of it, which is, you know,
no
it's not quite the win.
No brainer, you said. Kate in 4th on intermediate still.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
It's going to be interesting how he finishes now. And yeah, obviously now only, you know, 3 and a bit laps, 4 laps for you, 3 laps for me, basically. And now, skipping to the last lap, Berg has won the race. RBK not too far behind actually in 2nd. And yeah, nothing happened really on these last 4 laps really, as you know, it was pretty determined where we would finish after our final pit stop. Here we go, round the final corners for me. I was trying to get a fastest lap, but I think it won't be quite enough.
Yeah, I think everyone's trying to get a fastest lap there at the end actually. Even I, but I was a bit far off on that one. So pushing hard though, catching Nuka actually. Oh, he's also stayed on to the intermediates, so he's going to be sliding all over the place around the final corner. No traction for him, so I'm going to grab that almighty P12, which is fantastic.
Oh dear. There we go, confirmation once again. 12th place for you.
Can you put a box over that so you don't see what position I'm in?
You can hold your hand over it now if you want to. Anyway, here are the final classifications. It's Berg von Trips, you know, winning the race. A very, very crucial win for him, really, to get back some points on me in the championship. Then RBK in 2nd and me in 3rd. Really, I can personally be happy with that. Didn't have to pace at all from the top 2, and to beat Strees and Failure was definitely good of an achievement. Obviously, for you, I think a race to forget really. That hairpin has just destroyed all of your chances. Maybe you would have been able to fight for, I don't know, 7th, 8th, something like that.
8th maybe at least, because there's 10 seconds up to 8, so you know,
yeah.
I definitely lost more than that by the longer pit stop and losing time on the first 10, so quite disappointing in the end. And it's the first race since quite a while that I haven't scored a point, which is quite annoying, dropping behind RBK, who's obviously had a very impressive start to his Split 1 career, apart from last week at Hungary. But yeah, Berg as well for the first time in a while, closing down on you, so the gap 11 points at the top between you two. Nick B again, he wasn't here this time, so he's gonna score 0 points. Hopefully we'll be back for Spa though, but he's only 4 points now ahead of Afro, so it's gone very badly for him. I think it's a championship battle between you and Berg, but obviously with you having to miss 2 races later,
I would actually be calm at this stage really, with 11 points gap, but now with that, you know, with these 2 races not being able to attend, probably going to be very, very tricky. I need to have a bad result from Berg really, and need to finish in P1 many races really. But in the constructors it actually looks pretty, you know, pretty good at the moment. 57 points the gap to Mercedes there, so that's not too bad. And next track, as you mentioned, is Spa-Francorchamps.
Oh yeah, always a fun track to drive, obviously, one of the classics. One that we will get familiar with later in the year. And yeah, I mean, I hope that I can have a better race. I was quite a disappointing day for me today. So hopefully I can you know, come back with some points for the team. I think my main focus really is to try and get as many points as possible for the constructors, because I really want this constructor title. Haven't won a constructor championship at all. Same. In the top tier of this of AOR, so hopefully we can do that. But
it's gonna be hard, even though we have a 57 points lead over Mercedes. And it's gonna be hard. We have to be consistent still on our performances, and I think we will look for a better performance next time out at Spa.
I think a lot of it comes down to what happens in those 2 races that you can't attend. Yeah. But we'll have to wait and see. That's in the future. Next time is Spa. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and we will catch you then. Goodbye.